Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy you are with us today. Moments away, we're going to discuss second crops in which you can plant in your garden. But first, a word from our good friends at Honey Bee Healthy.
Since 2000, Honey Bee Healthy Inc. has helped beekeepers maintain healthy and thriving hives, attracting pollinators to your garden this year as simple as hanging a hummingbird feeder with a mixture of sugar water and Honey Bee Healthy Original. Don't be alarmed to see birds, bees, and butterflies dining together at the feeder. Pollinators coexist peacefully. Honey Bee Healthy Inc. is offering a 10% discount on an 8-ounce bottle of Honey Bee Healthy Original to this show's listeners. Enter discount code BEEGARDEN at checkout. For more information, mixing instructions, you can purchase products at honeybeehealthy.com. That music was very punchy and fun.
I always bring it. If you've missed or not able to capture the coupon codes available that are sponsors that pay for the program to be heard on your radio station, you can go to our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and it'll take you right there. They're all listed for you, offering coupon codes to help you save some money, but also provide you with products that are trustworthy and will work for a very long time.
All right, so let's talk about second summer crops. I think, is there another word for them?
No, I mean, they're
not fall crops.
They're not fall crops, and they're not succession planting crops. Succession crops are, I plant 2 rows of green beans now, I wait a week and a half, I plant 2 more rows. Then I wait another week and a half, I plant 2 more. Second crop is I plant the whole 4x8 bed of particular fill-in-the-blank crop. Instead of just a little bit, I plant it as I normally would to get another full crop of said crop before the fall hits. So we've got a list of them. Now your mileage will vary based on your particular growing zone. If you're in growing zone 3, this might be a little more hard to accomplish than if you're in growing zone 7. So with that being said, we'll list off several of the types of second crops in which one can grow. Cucumbers would be one of them. Now, cucumbers want warm feet. They like warm roots, 65 degrees or above. So you can plant them at the normal time in which you are growing cucumbers. And then about halfway through that growing season, you can plant them again. Now, this all is dictated on when your first average frost date is. Now, some of us have been advanced into a higher growing zone this past year, so our frost date might be a little later than what we once knew it to be. So this would benefit us in that particular aspect. So for example, if your first average frost date is October the 15th, cucumbers take about 60 to 80 days, give or take. So you plant your first group of cucumbers normally, and then you wait about 40 days and you plant another crop of them. So as the one crop works itself to exhaustion, you've still got you basically got a full crop all the way through the extension of summer. Potatoes are another thing. You can plant your early potatoes as soon as many of us have got them in the ground and growing, and then you can kind of pace yourself and figure out when the next time to plant your next set of potatoes, whether they're 80 days or 90 or 110 or 130 days, in order to get them growing and harvested before your potential first frost. Now, your frost is an average of the last 10 years. So it doesn't mean that, October 15th, well, we're done. We've had, in our location in southeast Wisconsin, where this show originates from, we had in 2016 our last frost of the year, what was early March, and we didn't get a frost until the week before Thanksgiving, our first frost. So over a month plus later than we'd ever had before in recent memory. Now, since that time, that has not occurred. We usually get our last frost about late March, early April, and about first week of October. That's when the frost comes. Now, everything changes very, it's very fluent in the weather world now, so we might see that again.
Right. So, like you said, you want to keep in mind that these are not the fall planting. This allows you to plant now, and then you have the late summer.
Another crop of the warm season stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can even things like lettuce, peas. Those are more for the fall. You don't want to do those now. So like Joy had mentioned, the potatoes is one, and then also, could you do brassicas like kale?
Kale is grow it in the spring and it will sustain itself. Swiss chard is the same thing.
Like say you pulled out your garlic, right? What would you put behind
bush
that?
beans, tomatoes, potatoes.
That's fair. That's almost like succession planting.
Succession planting to a certain degree. Yeah. I label it as second crop because it's not that, okay, we plant one block of sweet corn, then we wait a while. We're planting full crops. We're not planting partial crops. I consider succession planting as a partial crop. So you have a little bit coming in. I'm wanting to plant a full crop so I get a full amount, a full bucket of green beans coming in instead of just a bowl full.
So let's give it a timeline here.
Okay.
So now we've reached the point where your spring crops are done. And mostly. And now you're like, I'm going to do this second summer crop. But then if you say you have cucumbers that are going to be done in September, you have potatoes that are not these ones, but
your
first planting.
Yeah. The ones you put in the ground a month ago.
Yeah. Then that's when you can come in with your fall crops that you can grow.
Right.
So those are the lettuces, radishes.
So there's some planning to go into, okay, this is coming out of the ground. I could put another summer crop in, but I'm going to hold that spot for my fall carrots or radishes or brassicas or whatever it is for the fall. Okay, this area here I didn't get planted, so I can hold that for the potato.
You might want to plant more potatoes.
Right, the potatoes are halfway through their current growing time frame. I'm going to start another batch of potatoes so I can harvest these at 110 days. Those potatoes that I'm putting in the ground now will already be halfway through their growing season by the time I get the first ones out. So it's a little juggling of, now this is if you have the space available. That's the caveat on this. If you only have 4 by 4 foot, 16 square feet in the backyard, then the square foot gardening method would be the best method to go about doing this. You could do it, and it's on a very, very small scale. But if you've got 8 or 1,600 or 2,200 square feet or an acre of land, this is a much more easier way to go about making all of this math work.
I think that also you can do this on a smaller scale, and there might be people saying like, why would I do this? How does this work? And if you plan properly, you can get a lot out of a small space doing the second summer crops in conjunction with your spring crops being done, and then also your first summer crops being done, and then coming in and fall planting. It does take time. It takes time to plan that out. It takes time to think about that, but I think that it could be very beneficial if you don't have a lot of space. Maybe you have like 4 raised beds and you want to utilize them as best as you can, or you're like us and that garlic is
getting ready to come
out or has come out. Now is the time to consider what you're going to put there, as opposed to just leaving it empty, until next spring or the fall possibly. So just things to think about. Especially because if you're growing, a lot of the stuff, like if you have beans, why not plant more, right? Bean seeds are like, I don't know, a dime a dozen or whatever.
And beans can be in very small areas. A tomato plant didn't get to maturity or didn't grow very good. You can yank that tomato out and put a square foot of green beans in it.
Right. Yeah, you can do that. You can.
And green beans will go pretty quick.
And assuming that you like green beans, right?
Right.
But and I think this is another good idea for people who really like those cucumbers, because most people will plant, if they like cucumbers, they'll plant a fair amount.
And think that's all that they're going to get.
Yeah.
We're not in Hawaii. We can't grow year round.
No, absolutely not. So these are some really good points to place on. And other things you want to consider. Another thing is maybe you planted those spring crops early and you just kind of tossed them into the soil. Now that those spring crops are done, and maybe you want to work your soil a little bit, maybe you want to to amend it or add something to it or have a mulching plan or something, now is the time. If you have that room, you might not feel a rush to get things planted. You can take some time to get that second summer crop.
Yeah.
And I feel like say that 10 times fast. So there's that as well. You could also consider propagation. You could do some research on propagation planting. That might give you some time with these second summer crops. So this could also not just be like a space usage time, but a time to like slow down. Maybe you have some more time to focus. You're not as busy. Maybe you're like a teacher or something and you want to think about second summer crops. I don't know. But these are all good options.
The plants grow a whole lot better when in the ground than versus in the seed packet in your seed box. So you can always maximize. And the thing is with the second summer crop or your first summer crop or your only summer crop, some people, Memorial Day comes around, it's time to plant the garden. Labor Day comes around, time to yank the garden out, regardless if it's done or not. So there's a variation of types of gardeners, and there's gardeners that, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, January 2nd, let's see what we can put in the ground, even though there's a foot of snow on the ground. That's the mindset of some gardeners, get seed started in the greenhouse or low tunnels or high tunnels and grow the extension by utilizing those tools in order to get more on the springtime and later into the winter time. And there are some people that have figured out or chose to utilize the advantages in which they have on their property to grow year round, even in areas where it gets very cold in the winter, and they can utilize this by greenhouses or hot houses or however, low tunnels, growing very cool weather crops or maintaining the growth of cool weather crops during the cold winters. That's the thing with the high tunnels and the low tunnels is you're not starting the seeds on November 1st and trying to get a kale plant to grow through February. You have established those crops and you are covering them to maintain life and harvest off of them as you need, not to get them to grow and flourish over the coldest portions of the year in most areas.
Right. And that's a very smart thing to do.
So summer crops, second summer crops, first summer crops, plant as much as you feel that you can and feel you have the time in which you can do such. If you don't like weeding, you can do like several of our guests we've had on the program, plant it, water it, walk away, and the strongest plants will survive, and those are the ones you harvest, and those are the ones you save the seeds for because the genetics of those plants are the strongest. Or you can put weed barrier down or be very meticulous and weed on a daily basis. Whatever you feel is necessary and will work best for you and keep you sane in the crazy world that we live in.
Absolutely. So...
summer is in full swing now, Holly, and it's not looking back. But those nasty Japanese beetles, they're wreaking havoc on our gardens.
If you're looking to successfully control beetles without damaging the environment, look no further than Beetle Gone from Phylum Bioproducts, derived from a naturally occurring soil bacteria. Beetle Gone is the only organic solution that successfully controls beetle invaders. Just mix the powder with water and spray on your plants. Once ingested, the targeted pests will stop feeding and die. And since it's an organic BT product, you know it's a great choice to use on your fruits and vegetables, in addition to your ornamental flowers and trees.
Not only is Beetle Gone, not only does it work, but what I like most about this product is that it is safe to use around beneficial insects such as ladybugs, butterflies, and bees, and has no water toxicity to it. Beetle Gone from PhylumBioproducts.com. That's BeetleGone.com, and you can find out more about what the company offers at PhylumBioproducts.com. PhylLom Bioproducts.com.